So I just saw Alien Covenant for the first time a couple days ago. And I have to say, that was a pretty damn good movie. I want to do a whole other video on that. I really enjoyed it. Ridley Scott did a fucking amazing job. But it kind of got me thinking, like, I kind of wanted to talk about the Alien movies in general. Probably like the older ones, pre-Prometheus. Like, Alien through Alien Resurrection, or arguably Alien 3, depending upon how you look at the series. I would first like to address that Aliens 1 through 3, in my opinion, were a great trilogy. I understand that a lot of people have a little bit more beef with the third Alien, because of the darker tone that it took, and it kind of went through production hell, and David Fincher wasn't really allowed to, he wasn't really allowed to express his vision the way he wanted to, which is why actually my favorite version of that movie is the extended cut, which features more of what the way David Fincher wanted it to go. That being said, the first Alien is arguably, I mean, even movies like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing and stuff like that, all these claustrophobic sci-fi horror movies, like Alien, the original with Sigourney Weaver, was the OG. It was fucking really creepy. It was almost difficult to breathe while you're watching it. Just this feeling of being on this dark-ass spaceship in the middle of, a completely unlivable atmosphere all around you. You're just stuck on this ship with all these, narrow hallways and stuff, and you got this, goddamn 7-8 foot fucking dark thing that's just, hanging out in the air vents. It can move faster than you. It can, climb on the walls and the ceilings. It was a great movie. It was really way ahead of its time. And, something that they did and that James Cameron did a good job with in the second one, in the 80s, it was really a manly man's, action kind of Rambo, Terminator, kind of era, Chuck Norris deal, where it's action movies were really big. And Sigourney Weaver was a really badass female character. She was a really badass female lead. And I believed every second of it. It's not like they didn't really have to overplay it. And even in Aliens, which I would argue is even better than Alien. I think the Alien is a better horror movie. It has a horrific element to it that is more so in Aliens. But Aliens really brought it to the next step. But the thing is, her motivations, particularly in Aliens, were very understandable. They were maternal, you find out, and this is why I really like the extended edition better. I like the extended versions of all the films better, honestly, okay? But the extended version of Aliens really kind of puts it into perspective for you, because it's here you've got Ripley, she's been in cryosleep for 57 years, and her daughter, who was probably, not even a teenager when she left, is now dead from cancer or whatever the hell, so it's she's got that to deal with, and it's sort of okay, my old life is just, gone. And when she goes back to the planet with, all the Marines and stuff, all the colonists get taken out, and there's just an assload of aliens there, they find the little girl, and it's right off the bat, you can understand Ripley's, maternal instinct kicking in. You totally understand her complete investment in this little girl, Newt, and taking care of her, protecting her. And that's why, I mean, I'm not going to give away what happens, but when she gets taken by the aliens, I believe that Sigourney Weaver would have gone back into the hive by herself looking for her. It was just an epic movie. The first one was the most amazing sci-fi horror you can imagine. And the second one, again, I like it better, but the thing that I found really impressive about the second one is that it took everything that Alien was and just raised the stakes. It actually found a way to take arguably one of the best sci-fi horrors in cinematic history, and up the ante, make it even more exciting, add more to it. Now, onto the third film, Alien 3, I brought this up a little bit in the beginning. A lot of people hate this movie. I do not. it is not as good as the second one, nor do I think it's as good as. I think it's the weakest link of the original trilogy. However, I think, first of all, David Fincher's original vision for the film and in what is seen in the extended version is actually quite fascinating because they sort of go, like, the whole fact that it's like a prison colony and all these people are, like, religious and they're trying to repent for whatever crimes they may have committed off of this planet. Like, it really goes with the theme of, like, the alien being the devil. It was like a giant metaphor for, like, hell, and even, like, the whole, uh, excuse me, steel, like, melted steel, molten shit that they had there and stuff like that. Like, that was all, it was supposed to be, like, all industrial and stuff, but it was very reminiscent of hell. And they kind of revisit that sort of religious terror theme a little bit more in the extended version, and I thought that it was good. Certain people die. Certain things that happened in the second film are almost kind of for nothing. This movie really does take like a darker tone, like the darkest of all three of them. And I think that at the end is really what people didn't like. But the thing that I liked about it is it had its own atmosphere. Each of the original three were unique from one another. They all had their own sort of like feel. But Alien 3, it had its own feel, but it also managed to sort of like return you to that like sort of claustrophobic kind of feeling. These guys are fucked. It's a prison, none of the prisoners have weapons unless it's like a fucking shiv or something like that. And it's like, what are you going to do against a goddamn alien that come out of a dog or a bull, and yeah, again, can climb on the walls or the ceiling and can skewer you with its fucking tail from 6 feet away. It's like, there's really nothing that you can do. You're just kind of screwed. You have to strategize. You have to try and like trap it, God willing, and hope to just basically survive until help arrives, So I appreciated the fact that they sort of returned it to that. And again, the theatrical version, there's a lot of shit about it, particularly the ending, which I'm not, once again, going to ruin for anybody. But yeah, there was a little something that the studio had to throw in at the end, and David Fincher didn't want it to happen, but the studio was like, no, it'll be more awesome this way. And it was just sort of like, it was just something that nobody really wanted to see. And the extended version, they re-edit that scene. It looks kind of hokey, it looks a little cheesy, but you get the message, and I still prefer it to like the original version. Needless to say, beginning to end, even though the third one was the weakest link, I do think that it holds up today as being like a really awesome trilogy. Now, on to Alien Resurrection, the fourth one. I have to honestly say, like, I find this movie entertaining. I do. I can watch it, and some parts are so ridiculously stupid that I can't help but laugh. I can, however, watch it, and I can be entertained. But if I'm ever marathoning the Alien movies, I will watch Alien, then Aliens, then Alien 3, and I will have literally no compulsion to watch Alien Resurrection, okay? If I watch Alien Resurrection, it is its own separate thing. I'm watching it for its own experience because, quite frankly, I look at that movie as fan fiction. I think that the trilogy dynamic was perfect. I think that even though a lot of people weren't happy with the third one, I think that it was still a trilogy. It was a very complete trilogy, and the fourth one just seemed kind of like tacked on. And also, like, no offense to Joss Whedon or anything, I think he just wrote the screenplay. I don't think he directed it, or maybe he did, I don't know. But it was just a little too bright. In both sense of the word, it was a little too bright in atmosphere, and it was also like just too bright of a movie. Like the aliens, you see the aliens like really clearly, and the whole element of them like coming out of the walls and like attacking somebody, it just seemed kind of like lost. I appreciate like that they tried to do something different, but it just didn't have the feel of an alien movie. So of the series, that one was actually probably my least favorite. But at any rate, yeah, I was watching Alien Covenant. I am going to do a video about that. Tomorrow, I'm thinking I'm going to post my review of The Dark Tower. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, Alien Covenant, it got me thinking about the whole Alien series. And so And there it is.